Now, the killing of Osama bin Laden is something that almost everyone across the country agrees was a good thing for the U.S. and the world. So does it change how President Obama's critics view him and the job that he's doing as president? Now, Frank Luntz asked his focus group of South Carolina Republicans about the president, about bin Laden, and much more. Frank.
He's dead. The man is dead. The most hated man in America is dead. Now, my question to 29 South Carolina voters: do you give Barack Obama credit for this? Yes or no?
No. Not at all.
Who says no?
No. No way.
You don't even give him credit. It's been 2 years under his administration.
Didn't he campaign against all the policies that the prior administration had put into place?
Yes.
You give him no credit.
Every single facet, the strategies, the policies, the procedures, the tactical capabilities, all came from George Bush.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Exactly.
But you do give him some degree of credit.
Yes.
First off, he gave the order, and it was against his principles.
Ultimately, he gave the order to kill him.
No, well, I mean, he was the man that was behind the desk at the time when the trigger was pulled. I have to give him credit for that. But a lot of people are overlooking George Bush in this, which they should not.
He wrote on the coattails, which was a good thing. He wrote on the coattails of something that was already
So that's
started.
all you'll give him credit for is coattails?
Hey,
over here.
He didn't ask the UN either. I've given
Go ahead.
His only choice was to back off. And what would that have done to his poll if he'd have
I
backed off?
appreciate that he did. He had to give the command, and he did, and I appreciate that.
He gave the command, but the credit goes to those young men and women that did the operation.
But if George W. Bush had been president, I know you people would have been cheering and celebrating his leadership.
It's obvious.
Are you treating Obama?
It's obvious that Obama had no choice when we found bin Laden but to give the go-ahead to take him out. And that's the only thing the man has done.
He needed something strong to show he was a strong leader, because everybody's been criticizing him. This goes back, there's enough credit for everybody here.
He's playing kingmaker.
I don't know how you can give Obama credit, because he's going against everything he ran for in his candidacy. He was going to end the war. He was going to get out of there. He's going to arrest terrorists, give them Miranda rights.
Right.
I can't imagine how the people who voted for him feel.
Now, people are going to watch this video, and they're going to say that there's a segment of America that just won't give him credit for anything.
No.
What do you say?
Not true.
Not true? Okay. Keith, what do you give him credit for?
He had 2 years that he could have called off the hunt. Bush had 8 years to find the guy, didn't find him, and it would have been, in the next election, it would have been a non-issue.
This has been going.
He kept going. Even though he campaigned against the policies, he kept going down the path Bush laid.
This whole operation has been going on since 2005, when they first got the information and tracked down the courier.
And he ran.
So ran with it all the way.
He ran on closing Gitmo, and he quickly learned that was an ignorant statement he should have never made, and he never closed it. And look, and it led to capturing and killing bin Laden.
Novel ideas. Maybe we shouldn't even know that it happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Well,
It should have been kept classified.
No,
This should have never been on the front paper.
Go ahead.
No, everyone needed to know, and every American needed to know that he was dead. It did not need to be detailed and how it happened, and we don't need to know all the naval
So do you agree with him
involved.
that he's not releasing the photo?
Exactly.
Well,
do you agree with him? Yes or no?
Yes.
Who agrees with him? Show of hands. Who agrees that he should not release the photo? Who wants to see the photo? So even on that, you don't give him a break. Kathy.
Well, I don't agree that they debated it. I think they should have made the decision prior to any going in or any shooting, and I don't think that they should be retracting statements about what went down.
They should have done it right away.
Every policy that he was against when he was running, he's retrenched on. Every policy that brought this guy to
so maybe he's grown
was a Bush policy.
Maybe he's grown.
He's just retracting.
No, you don't think so? Go ahead.
I think it depends on why he's not releasing the photos. If it's because he's afraid of offending Muslims, then I don't agree with him. If he's saying America does not do trophies and gloat, then I agree with him.
Do you really think Obama is afraid of offending Muslims?
Yes.
You do. You do. Go ahead.
I want to see the photos, and I reserve how I feel about Obama based on how he deals with Pakistan and the fact that that man was in their country for all that time and kept saying he wasn't there.
You guys agree with that?
Yes.
I'd like to know if he polled since last September on how the public felt about getting rid of.
So I got one last question. I got one last question about this. I have one last question, and I'm going to get it in. He just went to the site of 9/11 in New York. Wait a minute, it's disgusting. It's a photo op. It's a lie. So all he could do was. How many of you think it's a photo op?
Completely political. Definitely.
What about showing respect for the people who died there?
There's no respect. I don't see it. He just wants to advance his political career.
One at a time.
Why is he giving a Muslim terrorist a 40-minute funeral who killed thousands of Americans, and he wants a mosque down at 9/11, Ground Zero? That's an outrage.
How many of you are mad? How many of you are mad that he went there?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a hypocrite. No.
Okay, enough. We're going to end on that note. Hopefully you all didn't hear it at home. Back to you.
And coming up next, it's our weekly roundup of the mainstream media's attempt to put its liberal spin on the news. This week, we look at the reporting on the death of Osama bin Laden. And then later, the New York Jets coach Rex Ryan is here to talk about his new book and what he expects from the upcoming season. That and much more on this Friday edition of Hannity. And welcome to Media Mash. It's time for us to expose the most outrageous examples of the mainstream media's liberal bias. This week, we examine the coverage of Osama bin Laden's death. And here to go through this week's material, none other than the president of the Media Research Center, the one and only Brent Bozell. All right, just for pure entertainment purposes, we've got to start with Joy Behar. You know, we don't have to do all these horrible things to terrorists. We just offer them money, a book deal perhaps, and it would probably have the same impact. Let's roll the tape.
If we use these enhanced techniques, then they can use them on us. So there's no international.
They do use them on us.
It just encourages more of it around the world, and then our soldiers have to endure it. And then the other thing is, it's possible that a $6 million book deal would have worked just as well. You know what I mean? There are other ways
what do you mean?
to get information out of people, pay them off. Who knows what would have worked?
No, maybe she forgot 9/11, the beheading of Danny Pearl and Nick Berg, and you know what? I don't think bribing them with a book deal is actually going to make them like us. That's my gut instinct.
Sean, I don't say this lightly. I'm not trying to be pejorative about this. Joy Behar is an idiot. I don't know how else to put this. She is an idiot. Let's see. The CIA would sit down with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and say, okay, guy, we can waterboard you, or we can give you $6 million for a book deal. All you have to do is cough up bin Laden's name. And, oh, by the way, we're going to put you on Oprah. I mean, what is she talking about? And doesn't it tell you about the condition of the media today, that this woman has not one but 2 TV shows now?
Really? I didn't know that. All right, let's go to the media this week did not focus at all. The only reason we were able to kill bin Laden on Sunday is because, let's see, Gitmo, enhanced interrogation, rendition, black sites, all of these tactics that Barack Obama himself opposed. But there's plenty of praise now for General President Obama. Roll the tape.
Professor Obama turned into General Obama and ran this incredible raid. Yeah. It took all these, took a lot of guts, the kind of thing you do see in a Hollywood movie.
This is a night for President Obama. It's the best night of his presidency. We're going to hear more and more about Obama got Osama.
President Bush tried, President Clinton tried, but Barack Obama was the one who had the courage and the guts and the coolness and took that chance.
And none of it would have happened but for George W. Bush, enhanced interrogation, rendition, black sites. They don't touch it. They don't mention it, Brent Bozell. Why?
Think about this, Sean, what Barbara Walters just said. But it was Obama who had the courage and the guts and the coolness. Oh, George Bush didn't have courage and guts and coolness? And even Bill Clinton, he didn't have courage and guts. Only Osama bin Laden, Barack Obama had the courage, the guts, and the coolness. Look, you want to praise the man for the president for what he did? I'm all for that. He did a great job. But my God, where were they when George Bush won us the war in Iraq? Where were they praising him? And why can't they give him the most minimal praise? It is because of this man's techniques that they condemned all these years. It's because of those techniques that man is dead today.
The only one that even came close to admitting it was Leon Panetta. By the way, to his credit. All right, let's go PBS. All those idiotic Americans that are out there celebrating the death of the terrorist that killed 3,000 Americans. Watch this.
I have a very heavy heart as I look at this, and I think that a lot of Americans are justified in feeling a sense of relief that Osama bin Laden is no longer walking planet Earth. But I think that the celebration should also be confronted with a deep sense of sorrow at all that's been lost over the past 10 years.
Does that mean that you had your stomach turned by all the cheering and jubilation outside the White House?
Well, you know, I think that, quite frankly, it's idiotic to treat these kinds of international events like sporting events, you know, like it's the World Cup that we're cheering for here.
No, we're cheering for the death of evil. And that good and hard work and the greatest military force on the face of the earth was able to successfully. They always had the means. We just finally got the intelligence.
That clip is a great example as to why it is an outrage that the American taxpayer is being forced to fund PBS. It's a great example of why it's an outrage that this is happening. Understand something, Sean. The far left is not happy that Osama bin Laden is dead. And if the national news media had any guts, they would report this. They'd report that Michael Moore is out there claiming that Obama executed bin Laden without a trial. Mike Malloy, the radio talk show host, has gone on his show saying he wished that those Navy SEAL people had taken out President George Bush.
When are they going to visit him next?
Him.
Well, I would think that the Secret Service maybe could pay a little visit to Mike Malloy.
Why? I hope it's a naval. I hope a Navy SEALs team pays a visit.
All right, there was some coverage that I found a little disturbing. I want to get your thoughts on this. Almost like a sympathetic view of one of the Mrs. bin Ladens. Let's roll the tape.
Amal is from Yemen, a country Osama considered his ancestral homeland, and she was much like him, simple, pious, not interested in luxuries like his other 4 wives. And it appears she lived his life on the run.
She joined bin Laden and she traveled with him during one of the most difficult parts of his life, which is when he was mostly on the run, traveling across Pakistan, Afghanistan with few luxuries, and yet she stuck by him.
Wait a minute, much like him, simple, pious, few luxuries, and $1 million compound? I mean, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
What's the moral here? You know, love is never having to say you're sorry. You slaughtered 3,000 people. Look, where this woman is concerned, it's one of two things, Sean Hannity. Either one, she's the world's greatest airhead to be with this terrorist, this murderer of people, or two, she agrees with his terrorism and his murders. And here you've got a national network in the United States of America playing violins and saying they're so sorry for her death. Guess what? I'm glad. I love what Giuliani said, that sometimes it's not right to wish somebody's death, but if you should wish somebody's death, this is a man's death to wish for. And I'm happy everyone in that compound who was supporting him is also dead.
Much like him, simple, pious, few luxuries.
$1 million compound.
By the way, Brent, and tomorrow night, Brent Bozell is hosting his MRC, their Dishonors Awards Gala, where they roast the most biased liberal reports. And we can't wait to see how that goes. And we will be reporting on a lot of these things. And let not your heart be troubled. Our great American panel straight ahead.